time since I last came here and spilled some book recommendations, but I guess I'm back now. We last spoke in winters. Winters were about to begin, and it is March now. Spring is here, and it's a very beautiful weather outside. You can see leaves falling and things like that happening. But I guess it's time for some amazing book recommendations again. And this time I'm going to give you book recommendations for thriller section. I know there are a lot of people who love murder mysteries, thrillers, suspense, adventures, and things like that. And I am one of them. So I like romance and I like thrillers, two completely different genres, but that's who I am. So yes, it's time to talk about some amazing thriller novels, the ones I've read in the recent past. But before we head on to that, if you are a romance lover and you love all things romance, Bollywood, Hollywood, everything romance, I'm sure you're gonna love the romance recommendations I gave a few months back. So click on the link in the description below to have a look at the romance novels that you should definitely read at least once in your life. I'm sure you're gonna love them. Now let's move on to the thriller section and see what I have in store for you. So the first book that I'm going to talk about here is called The Nurse, and this book is written by Allan. So I came across this book when I was in a bookstore and I read the synopsis, which was very intriguing. To be honest, I am very intrigued by novels where somebody is getting taken, somebody is getting disappeared, especially women. I don't know. This is kind of something that I like. So I was searching for thriller novels when I came across this title, and honestly speaking, it has left me on the edge of my seat till the very end of the book. Now the story is about a nurse, as the title clearly mentions, and she's a very regular person in her daily life. She goes to the hospital, comes back, and she's very loved by her patients. And she has troubles with her dating life. I think everybody is having that these days, but anyway, so she's having troubles with her dating life. She goes out on a couple of dates here and there, but she's not able to find that one person. On the other hand, we are introduced to a very random person who is fond of stalking women, and how their paths crossed, and how she ends up getting kidnapped, and what happens next is something that you'll have to read. But the story is very, very interesting, and I'm sure you're gonna take back a few things from this novel as well. So yeah, please read The Nurse. The next book that I have in store for you is called Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris. Now, I have recently picked another book by the same author called The Therapist, and I'm yet to read that book to see what it has in store for me. But anyway, let's come back to this. Bring Me Back is a book that I read in 2019, and this story is about a person called Finn who is in love with a girl called Leila, and they've been dating for quite some time. And 12 years before the story begins, they're out somewhere when Leila goes missing, and she's disappeared out of thin air. And Finn is very curious, he looks for her girlfriend and things like that, but the story very quickly moves on to 12 years later. So the introduction is only for like 2-3 pages, wherein you learn what happened 12 years before, and then you head into 12 years after, wherein he's dating another woman and he has moved on basically in his life. But things won't stay buried. What happened in the past is going to come back super soon. And what happens next and how he faces reality, what happens about what actually happened to Leila, and how things are going to unravel is something that's very, very interestingly written in this book. The plot twist in the end is to die for, so you should definitely pick this book up, and I would recommend it to all suspense thriller fans out there to read this book. Bring Me Back. And the next book that I'm going to talk about here is called The Catch by this author called TM Logan. I've read another book by the same author called The Curfew, and it was equally interesting, but let's talk about The Catch here first. So the story is about a father who finds out that his daughter has been dating a man named Ryan. And the story that comes out is that he learns that his daughter is about to marry this man, and she's very happy about it. She's very excited about marrying Ryan and moving to a foreign land as well. So the father here is very skeptical about this arrangement. He is not sure whether Ryan is a good match for her, and he thinks, and he has a gut instinct that this man called Ryan is lying to her daughter and of course to her family as well. So how the truth unravels, what actually happens, is Ryan a murderer? Is Ryan actually lying? What happens next is something that you will have to find out in the book called Catch, and it's very, very interesting, very beautifully written from multiple perspectives also, so you'll get to see a lot of things. So yeah, read this book called The Catch. The next book that I'm going to talk about here is by my favorite author, and she became my favorite author because of this book. So the book is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I read this book again back in 2019, and this was the reason why I started reading books by Lisa Jewell, and I understood why she is one of the best thriller writers out there. So previously I was very fond of Sidney Sheldon, but then I switched to Lisa Jewell because of her amazing, amazing books. Sidney Sheldon is again a very amazing writer, but more onto that later. So Lisa Jewell is one amazing writer, and this is one super amazing book. This book's sequel called The Family Remains came out very recently, I guess in 2022. And yes, so that was a very beautiful read as well. It was a sequel to this book, so you'll have to read this first. Now, what The Family Upstairs is about, the story is about this family who's living in Chelsea. They're a very small family with 2 kids, 2 parents, and they eventually make friends with this another family, and circumstances lead to that family, that strange family, moving into their house in Chelsea. Now, they have a mansion for their house, so they don't have any limitations in terms of space. But this family that has moved into their home is very strange. Stranger things happen when they move into their house, and deadly secrets unravel. So you'll have to read the book to see what actually happens, but I'm really telling you that you should read this book. Definitely read this book. And yeah, it's gonna be the number one thriller books on your list. I'm telling you that. So go ahead, read this book, and yeah, and tell me how you like it. The next book that I'm going to talk about is again by one of my favorite authors, and you must have read the book called The Silent Patient, which went on to win the Goodreads Choice Award in 2019. So yes, this book is by the same author, but it's not that book. It's not a sequel. It's a totally different book with a different story. So this book is called The Maidens, and the story revolves around a group therapist who has lost her husband due to some reasons, and her niece called Zoe. She learns about her niece's best friend who dies under strange circumstances. So she moves to her niece's college where this has happened. Her college is called St. Christopher's, and it's in Cambridge. So she's all shocked. She's shocked to hear that her niece lost her best friend. So she moves to her college to figure out what happened. Strange things unravel. She learns about Zoe's professor called Edward Fosca, who looks to be a very suspicious person, and she starts suspecting him for the murder and everything. But the truth is something very, very different, and the reality is something far behind what she imagines things to be. So this book is something you should definitely read, and I would recommend this to all suspense and thriller lovers. If you have read The Silent Patient, you know that Alex writes amazing novels. So just go ahead, pick this book blindly, and I'm sure that you're going to love this book as well. So yeah, Maidens is definitely one book that you should add to your list of thriller novels that are a must read for everybody. And with that, we've come to an end of this list of 5 thriller novels that you should definitely read at least once. So we talked about a lot of books. We talked about The Nurse by Claire Allan. We talked about Bring Me Back by P.A. Paris. We talked about The Catch by TM Logan. Then we talked about The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. And finally, The Maidens by Alex. So these are the books that you should definitely add to your thriller novel reads, must reads for this year and for this month and whenever you find time. If you've read any of these books before, please let me know in the comment section how you like these books. And if you haven't, then you should definitely add them to your TBR and let me know whenever you read them. If you have read any thriller novels that I should definitely read, please drop them in the comments below. I would take a look at all the comments and add them to my TBR. So yes, with that we have come to an end of the list of thriller novels that you should definitely read. But if you're a fan of romance like me, who reads both thrillers and romance, you should definitely take a look at the romance recommendations that I dropped in a few months back. I have dropped the link in the comment section below. Please go take a look at that as well and let me know if you like any romance novels from that. So if you like this video, please do not forget to give us a big fat thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to us. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I would try to be a little more frequent than I am. I promise I will do that. I'll create more videos. I'll give you amazing book recommendations. That is what we are here for, right? So subscribe to Michaelides. Click on the bell icon below to stay tuned for all updates. Whatever we post, you'll get notified for that. And yes, thank you so much for listening to me, for listening to our book recommendations. Let me know how you like a video in the comment section below. And stay tuned for more. Ta-da!